often said that your destiny is predetermined by which side of the track you were born into, right? And so let's take for an example this picture. This is part of the skyline in the city in which I live, which is Houston. And when you look at the skyline, you might see buildings, you might see successful businesses. You might look at those corner offices and you think about the people occupying those offices, the success that they've had and the lifestyle that affords them. You might see progress and hopefulness. But if you grow up in a house like that, in the shadows of downtown, what you see behind you is not the same thing. You see a world that people have told you ever since you were born that you cannot enter and you cannot succeed in. You see a place that if you work there, it might only be in the cafeteria or as a janitor. Entering into that corporation in a professional job is not even contemplated. It's not in the cards for you. Or so you think. The reality is that tens of thousands of kids are growing up in every major city in America, so close to downtown they can see those buildings from their schools. And yet, come to the senior year in high school and are confronted with this fork on the road. One path leading to those businesses that is full of barriers, whether those are real or perceived, whether they're physical or mental. They are barriers that they believe are insurmountable, leaving them with the only thing their communities have always told them is at reach for them. And that is a path to a minimum wage occupation with no future. And yet, as I look at these students in the eyes and I see their potential, I wonder, can we do something at that intersection, in this critical moment in their life, which is the senior year in high school? Can we do something to knock down those barriers and put them on the path to a corporate career? Well, let's go back to the tracks. And let's think for a second the force that this young lady needs to exert on this switch, this track switch. Not too much. But as a result of that force, a train that weighs thousands of tons ends up in a whole different city. Evan spoke this morning about leverage, about 10x. Well, think about, what is that, 1,000x? I don't know. But think about the leverage that she has when she actuates this switch at the right time, at the right moment, and the effect that that has on a train. Is human life that simple? Is it that simple to change the trajectory of life for kids growing up in our underserved communities? I think so. In fact, not only do I think so, I know so. It only takes 3 things to change the trajectory of life for underserved students. One is proper skills training. We heard this morning about the skills that need to be imparted, not just the technical and the work skills, but the professional and communication skills that our young people need to acquire in order to be able to succeed in the jobs of tomorrow. It requires an actual experience. It requires a meaningful internship during the entire senior year in high school, through which students can actually experience what it feels to be a successful professional doing something that they never thought was in the cards for them. And it takes a network of caring adults, and not only adults, but peers. It takes a new network of people around these students, showing them that indeed a new path is possible. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what Genesys Works does. We take underprivileged students in numerous cities around the country. We train them during their summer prior to their senior year in high school. not only your technical skills like information technology or maybe business skills like accounting, but more importantly, professional and communication skills that allows them to enter the workplace with the right mindset and the right ability to provide value immediately. Then we assign them to work in an internship during their senior year in high school in a major corporation typically, like AT&T, where they get to discover that this is not that big, ugly world that they always thought it was. That this is actually a doable place, a place that can really, they can apply their full potential to. And then we surround them with a network of caring adults, whether that be the supervisors at the workplace or the people who work for us, who are there every step of the way to make sure that as this train is changing tracks, they are being guided with the right information so that they can make the right decision. The results are pretty amazing. We have been tracking our students every year since they left the program, and we've been in existence for 16 years. And what we are seeing is that 5 years after they leave our program, they're already making the average of the general US population. But 10 years after they leave our program, they're making twice as much, or an average of $70,000 per year, more than their families have ever made. So what I'd like to do this morning is I'd like to leave you with this picture again. And I'd like to offer a challenge. As philanthropists, we know that all the philanthropy money in the world cannot solve the problems that we have if we tackle the problems with the same solutions. The questions for you are, how do you leverage your investments in the biggest possible way? How do you invest your dollars into programs, into solutions that have a permanent trajectory change in the people that they seek to serve? Thank you very much for your attention this morning, and let's continue to have a great day.